What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Lead. As you see, we got Kenny back with us on another episode, talking some Astros real quick with y'all. The best Twitter handle in the business. I had to rock the Mandalorian shirt for the Vandalorian. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Kenny.
Yeah, I'm Kenny Van Doren, Astros writer for Sports Illustrated Inside the Astros. Do some minor league stuff at Astros Future, co-host with Jimmy Price. And I think this is my third time back with you today. And I, of course, put on the Chazzy Fizz jersey, had to match with you.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, we are hyped. Kenny's getting big time. Kenny, you're getting big time, man. Now you're on Sports Illustrated. Congrats.
Thank
We
you.
applaud you for it, man. It seems like you're slowly moving up that chain, man. Is that the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I think I go to a journalism school right now, but I think the ultimate goal is to just stick with the Astros, stick with what I know. But I know down the line I might get a job somewhere else. But, my heart is with Astros coverage, and I think that's where I know the most of.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. We are definitely proud here in the channel of you, man. We appreciate you coming on and giving us your time. So without further ado, let's get started because, you're talking about what you love him to do. I think James Click is in love with Jake Myers. And that is the biggest news coming into right now with the Astros is Jake Myers. Yanier Diaz gets demoted. Jake Myers, you are promoted. Yanier Diaz, we had to put an APB search on him. He is still alive, and his vitals are well. Jake Myers, who was raking in AAA, is now on the team, potential taxi squad. What is going on? What is the outlook with Jake Myers, and how can he affect this team?
Yeah, the AAA season ended Wednesday. Jake Myers was down there in Sugarland for 24 games after he was optioned in late August. I think that came as a big surprise. I don't know. I remember on Twitter, I think Astros Future, Jimmy was the first one to tweet it. Everyone followed who's going to get called up? It was Matijevich in the end, right before Yainer and Hunter Brown made their entrance to the roster. But he looked good. Jake looked good on all facets. Kind of a slow start to, at the beginning, but 337 batting average and OPS almost, above 1,000. It's looking good for him at 4 home runs. And what impressed me the most from Jake Myers was 19 walks to 16 strikeouts. He was swinging at everything he saw in the majors. I know it's a big difference down in the Pacific Coast League. He didn't play in the altitude that, some of these games would have been at. So, that inflated OPS isn't just because he's playing in the Pacific Coast League. It's because he's seeing the ball better. He's making those adjustments, and that's why he was down there. And the vision is coming back to him. Seeing that higher walk rate than strikeout rate is what you want to see from a guy that's possibly going to make the roster as a bench bat.
Yeah, I am excited about this, actually. I know a lot of fans are not, and I understand why. He did not look good, but my immediate question for you is, do you think he came back too early? Was there injury? Was there some sort of plausibility to what Dusty was saying that maybe he needed more time in AAA? What did you think about that?
I think at the time, Chas McCormick still hadn't found his stride yet in the season, and Jose Siri just wasn't doing it well at the plate. His defense is incredible, one of the best defensive center fielders in the game, but they wanted a guy to get in there and, spark the competition, get both bats going. Chas McCormick got it going. Jake Myers didn't. And it just felt like they were trying to force on him those first 2 months, and coming off the shoulder surgery, he wasn't the same player. Power wasn't there. And he was trying to do too much at the plate, swinging at everything he saw, just trying to get on base. Nothing was clicking, and it made the most sense for him to go back down. But I did agree with what Dusty Baker said. He didn't look like the same batter down there in Sugarland. I was there for a couple of those games during the rehab assignment. Him and Taylor Jones, they needed more time, and eventually Taylor Jones getting that opportunity with the Giants and their AAA system and the AAA team. But it just wasn't looking like the same Jake Myers that came on the scene last season.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans, including me, everyone was definitely excited from what we saw of Jake Myers, the short sample size, and we were very upset whenever he got hurt and was out for the rest of the World Series. I was very upset. Hell, we made shirts for him, the Rake Myers Halloween shirts. We were excited to see him coming into this year. I think some fans were more upset that maybe you didn't really go out in free agency via trade either and try to grab yourself a center fielder, and in last second ditch option, you tried to go get the former Mets outfielder whose name is escaping me now. But that that is what's ending up right now. Jake Myers is back. Do you see him? You said bench spot immediately. For in terms of the playoffs, is he going to be on the bench, taxi squad? What is going to happen there?
One thing I want to jump on the Mets thing you said. I know Starling Marte was like the big target. He's with the Mets now, and he looked like the guy if they were going to go after a veteran. Brandon Nimmo is the Mets guy who's going to be a free agent this summer. And if they don't believe in Jake Myers for center field of the future, I think Brandon Nimmo is the best case to go after someone this winter. But looking at the 26-man roster for the ALDS, I was looking back, the past couple seasons, and with James Click at the helm, when he had a 26-man roster, first time was last season, because in 2020 they had 28 men. But some teams will do this where they only have 12 pitchers in ALDS. There's only 5 games, might not need as many starters. Somebody like Luis Garcia could be left off, but they're going to have an extra position player. And I think in my mind, that extra position player is going to be Jake Myers. He's going to be that guy like Jose Siri last season, where he's going to come off the bench. He's going to be your speed threat on the base paths. And Jake Myers has shown that he can run. You might not see him get in at bat, but he could be a defensive adjustment too. You have Mauricio Dubon, Chas McCormick, in the outfield together, but you could put Jake Myers in center field as well.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I definitely see that. The tea leaves for me, if I'm reading the tea leaves, it always seems like Dusty doesn't feel like he's sold on a Chas McCormick. And it does feel like he is more lenient towards Dubon's defense and is more happy with playing him in the outfield. If Jake Myers comes in and let's say, he's a spark plug, just like he was last year, let's say he comes in, does similar things for however many games they let him play. And, do you see him going right back to being the starter or how would that work?
I don't at all. There's 6 games left in the season, and I doubt they're going to give him more than 4 starts. Dusty Baker, I think he said the other day that he's going to rest some of the guys on Wednesday, and then the starters are going to play the rest of the season. They're going to finish it out. They have almost like a week off in between the season and the ALDS because of the wild card games. So I just don't see Jake Myers really vying for a starting spot. It's hard not to start Chas McCormick. I know he's kind of, slowed down a little bit, but he picks it up, and he had that home run on Wednesday night, and he's looking at, doing the chomp right now. But he's looking like the guy that was on fire in July and August again. And he's going to be your starting center fielder game 1, unless Justin Verlander is the starter, because we know Mauricio Dubon starts with Justin Verlander. But I would honestly start Framber Valdez game 1 and make sure Chas McCormick is in that lineup just to set the tone against either the Blue Jays, Mariners, whoever is going to be your opponent. I think it's going to be the Rays.
Yeah. It's between them or the Blue Jays, and I do believe it's going to be the Bay Rays. And you talked about the pitching staff. Let's segue into that. We're talking playoff roster. The big question is the bullpen. Let's start with the bullpen before we get into the starting pitching, and you can delve into both. It doesn't matter. But who ultimately is going to be, at least for the ALDS, you can see at this moment?
So, like I said earlier, I think it's going to be a 12-man pitching staff like last season. This is the best bullpen in Major League Baseball, the second best rotation in baseball, probably even the best rotation. And it's hard to leave somebody off. Like Seth Martinez being in the minor leagues is kind of a crime. I think he should be on the taxi squad soon too. He's going to be on the taxi squad in the postseason. There's just no doubt about it. Him and Belak probably. But if I had to choose 8 guys to sit in the bullpen, you got to go with, the easy ones, knock them off real quick. Ryan Presley, Ryan Stanek, Hector Neris, Rafael Montero. And then, so you're at 4 right there. And so then that kind of, it's really just going to depend on what starters they carry. So I'm going to add, I guess, the 3 starters that are locks that we can all agree on is Lance, JV, and Framber. So that's 3 right there. And that's 7 total pitchers. And you're pushing it. You have 5 more to go. Christian Javier, obviously, that's an 8. So you got 4 more. You got to take Urquidy. Urquidy's gonna start, split maybe Javier and them for that 4th game when it comes to it. And then I got to go Brian Abreu. I think Brian Abreu really solidified himself. That's 10. 2 more guys that's going to fit in there. It's like, if they play the Rays, you have to bring Will Smith. You have to bring that lefty. If you're playing the Blue Jays, I don't see them bringing a lefty in. I don't really know. It's just the bullpen's proven that it can face lefties without him. But I would take Will Smith in that case. And then, it really comes down to, you're going to take Luis Garcia, Hunter Brown, or Phil Maton. And I think they're taking Phil Maton.
Ooh. So you think Hunter Brown's left off, at least for the ALDS? That a lot of fans, a lot of
Yeah,
fans are hyped on Hunter Brown, man.
Yeah, and everyone should be hyped about Hunter Brown. What he has is incredible. I don't think the command is all there yet. We've seen those one inning samples. He kind of loads the bases, puts two guys on. When he's actually starting, he can go 6 innings, give up 1 or 2 runs. And I don't think he's totally built yet for this. Maybe he'll have 2 more bullpen appearances, maybe 1 more in the next 6 games. But looking at the season, it's there's riches here. No matter who you send out there, this bullpen and this starting rotation is going to look incredible.
Very excited about Will Smith picking up his play. It definitely was a trade that I was like, oh, maybe it's just a bit of a wash. We're just going to get rid of Odorizzi for Will Smith, who was having an atrocious year. And then I have Braves fans coming into my mentions going, well, hey, Will Smith was, he steps it up during the playoffs. He turns it into a different level. We're starting to kind of see that maybe they're right. And Will Smith being that lefty is definitely what Dusty likes. And the Astros don't have a lefty. We haven't struggled without having a lefty, but I think Will Smith deserves a spot on this team just because of his recent play. Now, that's the ALDS playoff roster. You don't have Hunter Brown. ALCS, because I assume we got the Astros going that far. Am I right?
Yeah, I would think so too. I think that's kind of an easy bet to take there. But it's just in my mind, I keep thinking if the Yankees don't stop Cleveland, say Cleveland and the Yankees play each other and Cleveland gets past New York, I think Cleveland is going to pose a really good threat to any team it faces. Just that small ball mentality that they play with. Terry Francona is a Hall of Fame manager, and they have some pretty underrated pitching staff, and their contact is incredible.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Terry Francona. I didn't think the Guardians were going to be where they are right now, I'm being honest. And, he does what he does. That's the reason why he's going to be a Hall of Fame manager one day, or a Hall of Famer, one day in the future. Total hats off to them, because I did not expect that. As long as it's not the Orioles. I know we might not have the Orioles in the playoffs, but as a surprise, stone cold glass shattering thing, don't want the Baltimore Orioles. We don't want that. The Astros seem to have problems with them. But overall, we got ourselves into the ALCS. We're starting to bleed into the predictions. Okay, so what do you got, man? The Astros are in it. We're in the playoffs again. The golden age of baseball is continuing. We got 100 wins, more than 100 wins. We're doing our thing again. We've seen this story before. Can we finish it?
I think this is the year they finish it. I think they're going to go all out. This is, to put Dusty Baker, this totally push him into the Hall of Fame. He's already a Hall of Fame manager, but this is just going to push him over, finally get him that ring, and he's going to retire, pass the torch to Joe Espada. It's going to be a storybook ending, kind of 5 years since the cheating scandal, half a decade, and so it kind of just pushes them over. And I think the only threat that I see is, trying to get past whatever National League team. I know that's literally what the World Series is, but the National League is pretty loaded. Facing that Mets rotation, some of those sneaky bats in the lineup, Dodgers just seem just going to have the best record in baseball again. The Braves, though, I think the Braves are a real threat, and I think they'll make the NLCS.
Yeah, the Braves have a serious pitching threat, and we saw that last year. I think the storybook ending is my prediction. You mentioned it, and I was going to mention it. It's been 5 years since the cheating scandal. We haven't faced the Dodgers in 5 years. And I think, put the cherry on top, the Houston Astros win the World Series. They beat the Dodgers in 7 games. And another classic World Series tops 2017. We're going to have some magic moments. And I am a firm believer. I will die on this hill for Jeremy Pena. I think Jeremy Pena is going to have a very, very good playoffs. I just don't know. There's something inside me that just believes in the playoffs, Jeremy Pena, he's going to turn it up. Maybe I'm crazy. Who do you think is going to be that guy that just turns it up in the playoffs for the Astros?
Believe it or not, I'd put it on Alex Bregman. After the last 2-3 seasons, in 19, he was one of the most unstoppable forces in baseball. He should have won AL MVP. And, he kind of kickstarted it there in August, kind of petered out in September, but he's never really shown that he's, one of the best, in the postseason. And he's shown in the ALDS, shown a little bit. The ALCS kind of slows down in the World Series. I think he starts a little bit slow this year and really puts it on in the World Series if they make it that far. And I think he's your guy to really boost you over on the offensive side of the ball.
Who we facing in the World Series, man?
My mind says Braves, just because I think the Braves are so deep and just so talented with the young core that they're really building. But, my mind really wants, or my heart really wants the Dodgers. I think that would be the most, if that goes 7 games, it's probably the craziest 2 weeks like ever. Just bringing those two teams back together after 5 years, that would be incredible just for baseball in general.
Yeah, and then we don't even have, like, most of the team is pretty much gone, but regardless, ESPN, all your national media is going to flood everything 2017 down your throats, and every game it's going to mean a lot, and it's going to be absolutely insane. So how many games you got? 7 games against let's say, what you want, Dodgers or Braves?
I would just do Dodgers. I think that's the best way to go for this season. I think it's just incredible for the sport. Also, I totally forget that the Cardinals are good this season again. So I think Astros Cardinals, and get Pujols against the Astros somehow again. And if that happens, though, I think the baseball gods are taking the Cardinals in that series.
You know what? For my sakes, I need the new Astros to slay the old Astros. They should go have Brad Lidge and not even have him enter Minute Maid Park. I don't want him in there. Just lock him out. Do a Barton on him. Just exile him for that series, and let's just go out there ballistics. I wouldn't mind the Cardinals for the history. I would love that, actually, and I would love to see Pujols. I know I'm the only one. I would love to see Pujols in against the Astros. I want to see our pitchers, throw them the nasty curveball and strike them out 1,000 times. That's what I like seeing, because we're the Astros and we're the best team in baseball. That's just how we roll. So that's it for this video, man. We're going to wrap things up. The Houston Astros, like I said, are the best team in baseball. I got them going 7 games against the Dodgers and winning the World Series. Likewise for you. Any last second thoughts you want to give to us real quick, man?
Magic number still at 1 as we're recording this right now. Could clinch the top seed tomorrow, Friday. The Yankees loss, Astros win. Either outcome really gives them that home field advantage through the ALCS.
Yeah, man. I can't wait. I can't wait for the playoffs. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited. That's pretty good right there, man. I can't wait. Go buy yourself some furniture, because I do believe in this year is the year. I just full-fledged believe in it. But that's it for today's video, guys. As always, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. Y'all have a blessed day.